Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday, the 13th of September 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, all your posts put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. We've got to talk about this. The Unite the Kingdom march that went on today through London. Honestly, some of the scenes look absolutely phenomenal. Like, absolutely phenomenal. A staggering number of people showing support for the country because they know we're being attacked by the Satanists. That's what's going on. But are they going to wake up? Because I mean, people are uniting, but do they have the solution? Little do they know, the only solution is Bitcoin. And my channel only gets what 1,500 views. I mean, look how many people are there. It looks like there's like a million. Well, they estimated between sort of like. They thought they were going to get sort of between 1 million or 500,000 and 1 million. Look at that. Look at that. That is sensational stuff. Sensational stuff. Yeah, brilliant. So we'll talk about that. This is the march. This Tommy Robinson. Well, they're calling it like, I mean, that guy's got a huge amount of support. He should be in politics. Again, we just got to talk about these. You know, these... what can we call them? Satanic recruits. You know, the head of the Oxford Union. It's just disgusting what they're doing, advocating violence and all that, but I wouldn't expect anything less from them, really. We've got a post here from the BSV Association, so we'll listen to what Brian Doherty has got to say. Obviously, got to touch on CSW's posts. Someone just brought this to my attention. That's quite an interesting one. We'll have a look at some of the editor's choice here articles, and then we'll have a quick look at the figures. Got some 365 days of Bitcoin history, and then we'll finish with the Kellan Schweller countdown. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Alrighty, here we go. So this was the Unite the Kingdom rally. Obviously sort of like organised by Tommy Robinson. Like him or love him. You know, whether you think he might be an agent provocateur, who knows. But the fact is, he's uniting the kingdom on this rally. I mean, I would say he's pretty more popular than Keir Starmer, judging at this. But I mean, what a turnout. And check this out. John Lydon from the Sex Pistols, Johnny Rotten, he said here, I'd never thought I'd live to see the day when the right wing would become the cool ones giving the middle finger to the establishment, and the left wing become the snivelling, self-righteous twats going around shaming everyone. Look, John Lydon, look at that. Can you believe it? Even he's turning right wing? And he was initially a lefty. So I mean, even he has turned code. He realises that, you know, the left have been co-opted by the far right, basically, you know, and it's the far right calling the far right, or it's the far right calling the middle now the far right when they're the ones who are far right themselves. Look at this. So we've got Katie Hopkins in there next to Tommy Robinson. I mean, like, you know, like him or loathe him. I mean, you know, he's admitted to being a Zionist. You know. The psyop runs deep, but the fact is, he is promoting British values here. That's it. That's kind of like literally all he's doing. Like, you know, is he doing it intentionally because he's provoking everybody? But even if his intention is to provoke, the fact is he's still calling out all the wrongs that's going on. That's the main thing now. And look at the size of this. Unite the Kingdom. So much for it being a few thousand, like a mainstream media would have you believe. Yeah, that is a huge amount. Let's have a look at that. Whoa, absolutely massive. But again, yeah, the establishment will be doing all the facial recognition there. I think that's maybe Oxford Street. Whoa, look at that. That is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. I mean, is this going to make a difference? That's the main thing. If only all these people knew that Bitcoin was the solution. Somebody needs to tell them, and I'm the only one getting the word out. Yeah, there are people in that crowd that I know, some very high profile people that do know about me and do know about Bitcoin, but the time hasn't come yet. Look at that. That is epic. That is epic. Loving this. Look, everybody getting involved. Everybody getting involved for British culture and British values. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's like I said, it's great to see people uniting and coming together. But like I said, are they just going to bang on dustbin lids? You know, is there going to be a solution? Because really all of that needs to be, all of the energy from all of those people, they all need to come together and they need to unite into a political party is what they need to do. Who's going to lead them? Is it going to be Reform? Is it going to be Advance? Because like it cannot be any of the, you know, Conservatives, Labour or Lib Dems or Greens or any of those, you know, any of those co-opted parties because it won't get anywhere. So literally, you know, it's all going to come down to the next general election as to whether this country keeps its culture or loses it to the Satanists, pretty much. That's what it's all about. Oh, hey, look, they've got branded Unite the Kingdom hoodies on. Loving that. And look, they've even got Elon. Oh yeah, they got Elon Musk talk in there. So somebody's got some serious connections. Some serious connections, yeah, to actually organise that. That's absolutely massive. Clowning Street. Yeah, but that's exactly what's going on. That's brilliant.
I don't believe it. Tommy Bloody Robinson making a video for his bloody march, right outside my bloody door.
Keir Starmer's a wanker.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, look at that. People coming together, but like I said, they're not going to realise this, but it's literally all about Bitcoin. It's all about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is going to record any criminal activity, like all these judges and the people in politics literally committing treason against the people is what they're going to be recorded. You know, breaking the Constitution. Again, no fines and forfeitures without conviction from a jury of peers. They are public servants, no more. They've got no right to put any fine, forfeitures or anything on us. We are free men and women of this country. But again, you know, it's the Satanists wanted to take over with their one world government. You know, it's their religious extremism saying they're going to have a world of their own without anybody in it. That's what they want. They want rid of us. And again, it all comes down to finance, because all legal and political influence stem from economic power. And these Satanists at the moment own the central banks. That's how they're doing it. And the central banking literally benefits nobody but the one individual, whoever it is, that controls the supply of the currency that they print from nothing. That's literally it. Literally it. There is no one that benefits other than the individual that's got the finger on the print button. That's it. Whereas Bitcoin benefits everyone. Everyone. Because it's stable, it's fixed in supply, it can't be manipulated, and it's infinite, well, effectively, for want of a better word, infinitely divisible rather than infinitely inflated. That's what's so good about it. Can you imagine how exciting this is? I'm getting my contacts in there. Just waiting for the right moment. Just waiting for the universe to do its stuff. Amazing. Amazing. And look at there. Look at that crowd there. I think that must be in Whitehall. Yeah, it looks like House of Parliament there in the background. This looks like Whitehall to me. Epic. Oh, that's great. Don't you just love it when you want to play a video and it doesn't want to play? Here we go. Wow. There's a massive amount of support. A massive amount of support. And look at this. This is disgusting. Look, the Oxford Union president that celebrated Charlie Cox's murder, shows no remorse. I mean, look, it doesn't matter what he's done or what he said. The fact is, he's still leaving a wife and 2 kids behind, and he was just wanting an opinion, freedom. He just wanted a debate. Literally, just wanted a debate. You know, what is a woman? An adult female? Oh, yeah, I don't think it is. Or what do you think of a woman? Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, but this is what you get when you go up against the Satanists. Unfortunately, you know. Yeah, I don't think he actually knew who he was up against. But the thing is, though, this has brought out the Satanists are starting to reveal themselves. That's what's happening. Right, let's get on to this. And the BSV Association. So they've said here, with blockchain, there is a gross misunderstanding. Blockchain is not just about cryptocurrency. It is an infrastructure capable of solving prevalent global problems like counterfeiting, whilst also drastically reducing inefficiencies across a number of business processes and improving transaction times. That's Brian Doherty, Global Head of Policy at the BSV Association. Supply chains face rising cybersecurity risks and other issues arising from a lack of transparency. Blockchain is already helping businesses better safeguard themselves against this, from tamper-proof shipping containers to real-time product traceability and more efficient payment systems. But while the technology is already proving itself by reshaping supply chains across the globe, misconceptions are still holding policymakers and industries back from experiencing its true potential. For too long, policymakers have taken their cues from the media, who have focused on the crypto Wild West. That's where the confusion began. Today, blockchain and cryptocurrency are still often treated as the same thing. They're not. Blockchain deserves its own place in the conversation as the infrastructure that secures data, protects systems, and empowers enterprise. Brian's drive comes from the belief that the better infrastructure leads to better decisions and ultimately better outcomes for economies, businesses, and consumers alike. This is why he is so passionate about driving better policy. At the BSV Association, we're committed to showing leaders across the industries that blockchain isn't speculative, it's practical, it's scalable, it's transformative. Connect with us to learn more. So I've got here how blockchain is already reshaping supply chain resilience, how to utilize technology to give your business a competitive edge, why blockchain is the natural next step for enterprise operations. Asking people to reach out to the BSV Association. Awesome. Let's see what Brian's got to say here.
Years to have the internet. Close to 61% of executives find that information security and cybersecurity are an issue. I am Brian Doherty. I am head of global policy for the BSV Association. With blockchain, I think that there was a gross misunderstanding. And I would explain blockchain as an extension of the protocols that we have built for the last 70 years to have the internet today. But it does two key issues. It solves a heavy reliance on trusted third parties, which incentivizes hackers to come and breach that data. And it provides a natural payment system, which again removes this requirement for third parties to secure your transactions, which come at a significant cost. So one of the ways that we're helping logistics and supply chain is security. Close to 61% of executives find that information security and cybersecurity are an issue. So we use our Cerdash Sentinel node as a way to provide insight every 5 minutes to whether a storage container or a shipping container has been tampered with in any way. Understanding where those are and having an immutable record of where they are, when they were there, as well as who tried to open it. That is all key information that is currently a blind spot that we have today. Without blockchain, there's no way to cert whether somebody has changed centralized records or not. All of this provenance data is key for decision making and everyday decisions. You can utilize the same technologies you're already integrating to have that blockchain record, and you can actually potentially finance this entire thing based off the efficiencies of not having to pay credit card and debit fees. If they just simply utilize blockchain, not just for the data, but for the actual financial notification and payment systems, now they have a unique way to compete
Wow, epic, absolutely epic. Loving that, loving that. Right, let's get on to some of CSW's posts here. CSW knows what's going on, obviously being a Christian himself. He says the choice before the West is stark. Either the West will rediscover the principles of order, just and transcendence that first animated its greatness, or it will dissolve into the decadence of a civilization that consumed itself with illusions of boundless autonomy. The world cannot indefinitely endure a culture that denies permanence, or for permanence is the soil in which a human dignity grows. To forget this is not to advance, but to regress into a barbarism, clothed in the garments of progress. And so the fate of the nations will be determined not by their wealth or by armies, but by their willingness to remember that freedom is not found in the annihilation of limits, but in their recognition. But again, Satan is trying to take that recognition away. Satan is trying to confuse and misguide and deceive people. That's what's really going on. But yeah, great point there. Let's see what else he said. Hey. He said, imagine the contortions required to say with a straight face that highly technical people simply aren't good at media, while the same camp bankrolls professionals, propagandists, pays influencers to chant price targets and runs coordinated hype cycles. That is not shyness with a microphone, it is a business model. The line about poor media skills is camouflage for a strategy that has lived off narrative for a decade, promised the moon, ridicule dissent, and drown out questions with volume. Here is the contradiction laid bare. On one hand, the script says the asset is destined for 1 million, 10 million more. On the other, the same script concedes that it does nothing ordinary people can use. So everyday payments at scale, no predictable fees, no contractual finality that integrates with law and commerce. So the public is told to buy a tool precisely because it will never be used as a tool. Utility is treated as a distraction. Scarcity theatre is the product. The economics of that script collapses under the plain arithmetic. Proof of work security is paid for with block revenue, subsidy plus fees. As price targets inflate, miner revenue inflates, and competitive miners expand hash rate until marginal cost approaches marginal revenue. That is not a moral claim, it is how competitive markets equilibrate. If price is pushed into the stratosphere while throughput is kept artificially scarce, two things follow. Fees must explode to fund security as subsidy decays, and energy consumption is driven ever upwards by the revenue signal. The narrative pretends you can have astronomical values, microscopic capacity, negligible fees, and most energy use all at once. You cannot. If the price fantasy were realized under their constraints, the energy race would chase it upwards without a natural stop. That is the tail wagging the power grid. The hypocrisy deepens when the same voices lecture the world about sound engineering, while refusing the only remedies engineering actually uses, are scale and systems to increase capacity. Amortize fixed costs over others of magnitude, more transactions, keep fees trivially low and predictable, and measure success by real throughput under load rather than by decibel level of podcast. They sneer at commerce while pumping speculation, then claim the authority of science against anyone who asks for a benchmark. That is not engineering, it is alchemy with a marketing budget. And the rhetoric is never accidental. Price target futurism, to the millions, is not a forecast, it is a recruitment device. It reframes every skeptic as an enemy of progress, and every technical objection as an attack on hope. Meanwhile, the censorship by consensus routine, what may be built, what may be recorded, who may speak, betrays the open system slogan they once wore like armour. Permissionless in the brochure, permissions everywhere else in practice. There is a simpler standard. Systems are judged by what they do under constraint. Can they scale without collapsing fee markets? Can they keep latency tight and cost negligible and at industrial volumes? Can they be audited and enforced in the real world where contracts, courts, regulators exist? Either those properties are demonstrated in code, data, and repeatable tests, or they're not. No price chart will conjure them into being. So yes, The sophistry is the point. The media posture is not a weakness. It is the spine of the operation. Inflate expectations, denigrate utility, declare critics heretics, and hope the market confuses noise for inevitability. The antidote is not a louder slogan, but a quieter fact. Truth and engineering wins because it works. Scale, predictable, tiny fees, measurable performance. Lawful integration, everything else is theatre, expensive, loud, and ultimately empty. Absolutely. Let's see what this douchebag is going on about here. So Adam Back was replying to somebody saying, not sure if you know this, but being good at media engagement, being persuasive in a political environment in written or audio form, for example, ability to sound reasonable and yet talk over people, etc., is typically not a skill set highly technical people have. They can be right and appear. Well, yeah, but he's wrong. He also says, to lose an argument to a naive bystander versus the likes of Craig. They can't help themselves but mention Craig Wright all the time. Richard Hart, he said scammers and con artists with robust sense of self-importance and those exact skill sets in spades. Variants were a central part of the fork wars. Trust Bitcoiners haven't forgotten already. They will do. Literally, the moment they realise they've been scammed by this piece of shit, they will literally go ballistic at him. You know, maybe that's why they chose him, because it looks like Butt wouldn't motor him. Oh, I'm poor little Adam Back. I'm just a techie. That's all it is. Nah, mate. He knows exactly what he's done. But he's probably been flown into that position. Oh, absolute contempt for that guy. Global Market Investor said here, this has never happened before. S&P 500 all-time high. US home prices all-time high. Bitcoin all-time high. That's Gregcoin. Gold all-time high. Money supply all-time high. Public debt 37.4 trillion, an all-time high. US labour market in recession, and the Fed is going to cut rates next week. What is happening here? Good question. What is happening here? I don't think they're going to crash the market. Well, they can't really crash the market until BSV is no longer here. But while BSV still exists, they can't afford to crash it, because I think they're going to do what they did in the 1930s and what they've done time and time again, crash the market in order to introduce a new idea. You know, like Klaus Schwab said, you know, pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack where they're just going to wipe everybody's data. You know, this is why they want everybody to, take the old jibby jabby, because that would take them out of the game pretty quick as soon as they turn on a certain, EMF network that they're building all around the country. Then when there's very few people left to fight, or when they feel as though they got rid of enough people, they'll then sort of crash the economy and try and introduce their ultimate goal, which is no man will buy or sell unless they've received the mark of the beast in the right hand or on the forehead. That's what's going on. 23 minutes gone already. We'll just touch on these. So Cointelegraph, the editor's choice. Web3 white hats earn millions, crushing 300k traditional cybersecurity jobs. So top Web3 white hats are earning millions, uncovering DeFi flaws, far surpassing traditional cybersecurity salaries capped at $300,000. Oof, you know. It's a large salary to have. But again, I mean, they're just testing security there. The reason they have to test it is because they're not on BSV. Bitcoin All-Time High is not bothered about that. Exclusive half of Pancake Swap's random prize winners appear connected. That'll be right. It's one big club and you ain't in it. Look at this. Pancake Swap claims its trading competition winners were selected randomly, but blockchain records suggest over half of them belong to a cluster of linked wallets. That's hilarious. See, look, even blockchain is catching themselves out. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Let's have a quick look at the figures then. Oh, right, so $26.71 top left, $27 here on CoinDance. Bitcoin is 61.93% of the overall transactions on its network, 90% of the block size. Let's have a look. Blocks coming through: 28, 19, 21, 11, 13, 16, 14, 10, 24. More data in those blocks than in the entire column over on Gregcoin. See what we got here. 39,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gradecoin. Mining Bitcoin at 8.3% comparable loss, but it's 8.9% more profitable to mine on Fisher Price Cash. 4.1% more profitable to mine on Bcrash. Yeah, sort of unremarkable figures at the moment, but the politics is in the pie charts. And we've got Fisher Price Cash here. Other miners with 64.58%. And there's Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the transactions here. Oh, look at that. 867,819. So that is well in second place now. Well in second place, way above XRP, and literally it is BSV versus Ethereum, and it's BSV versus Gradecoin on both metrics. BSV is literally in second place. You know, it's winning in block size, it's winning in transactions over Gradecoin, and it's in second place here behind Ethereum. So in CoinDance it's effectively in second place, and on BitInfo charts it's in second place. The only thing that doesn't correlate is the market cap ranking, because it's being manipulated. That is it. Right, overall market cap $4 trillion. Gradecoin $115,000 here. Just going down over the last 24 hours. Let's see where Bitcoin is. 101. $26.71. Crazy. Oh, it's trending along nicely there though. Let's compare that then to the big dog on Orange Gateway. Let's have a look and see what the figures are doing. Oh, look at that. Huh. It's actually winning. We'll take that. Love it. Love it. So Huobi taking the lead. CoinDCX in second apparently. CoinEx, Zedixian. Let's have a look at liquidity though. Where's that? See what this looks like. Whoa, this has changed a bit. This has changed a bit. This is actually fascinating. Could we actually be seeing liquidity moving around the markets to the different exchanges? Look at that. They're kind of, it's almost like sort of like becoming even. Does this mean there's going to be a great relisting? Oh, what a title. Can you imagine? The Great Relisting. Instead of the Great Reset, the Great Relisting. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. The Great Relisting. Oh, fantastic. And that would explain why the liquidity is starting to move around all these exchanges. Looks like they're probably they know they're going to have to relist it at some point. Wow. Does this mean that Cabal are giving up? What's going on? Fascinating stuff. 27 minutes. We're on the 13th of September. On the 13th of September 2012, Jack Dorsey is one of the first big tech CEOs to endorse Bitcoin. So it had been around since 2009 then. So yeah, like 3 years. 3 years, and they hadn't been able to get rid of it. So this is where they got the likes of Jack Dorsey to endorse it and try something else. You know, try even bigger pumps and dumps. Get people in on it, then dump the market. That's what's coming. And check this out. This was hilarious. On the 13th of September 2020, another classic PMAC gaffe. Look at this. And this was me writing to him. So I said, I know you say you're not interested in understanding Bitcoin for the sake of your audience. But if Bitcoin fails because miners can no longer economically sustain the network, surely it would be in the miners' interest to have the chain become more valuable by having more people use it and therefore the price of Bitcoin increase. Logic. Logic. And his response was, if you message me about this nonsense again, then I will block you. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. Absolutely hilarious. Hilarious. Right. The Kellenschweller countdown is on the 13th of September. There is 5 days left of this countdown. We have been counting this down for 3 months. And the actual countdown itself has been going since the 18th of April. So that's 5 months in total. What an epic this is going to be. I just hope that the countdown that I am using this for doesn't happen at 0, because otherwise I'm going to have all fingers pointing at me. So this is kind of like squeaky bum time. So I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it turns out to be a nothing burger, because otherwise I'm going to have a few questions to answer. And I swear, honestly, I don't know anything. I've got no insider knowledge. But what we'll do when it gets to 0, we'll then start counting up. And when it happens, I will let you know. So until then, bioetic, stay safe out there, and remember, hit the like button and press subscribe. You're not going to want to miss all the shenanigans that happens between now and then. We will catch you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.